That gas you're filling your car with, the meat you're preparing for your family dinner, all more expensive in what has been the largest consumer price increase since 1982. Here with a broader glance at the economy and to share if there is any end in sight is Greg Valliere, Chief U.S. Policy Strategist for AGF Investments. Thank you so much for joining us. It's good to see you again.
Great to be with you.
Well, let's first discuss the current state of inflation. Consumer price indices rose 7% last year, the largest increase since the 80s, early 80s, I should add. So can you give us an idea as to why this is happening?
Well, two big reasons. Number one is just things, oil, lumber, copper, grain. Number two is labor. It's hard to find employees, and more employers are offering higher salaries, sign-up bonuses, things like that. And when they pay more for labor, they have to pass those costs along to the customers.
So which sectors are you saying? You mentioned lumber, oil, of course, we've been seeing at the gas pump. Those prices keep ticking up, slight up and down, but for the most part, we're paying almost $1 more than what we were paying a couple years ago. So what other sectors are we seeing a rise, and are there any that are surprisingly not rising as much?
Not a lot. Just about everywhere you look, you see prices on the upswing. I don't think, though, this is a permanent phenomenon. I think by summer, some of these prices will begin to level off. Maybe the labor inflation will take another year or so to cool off. So we are looking at a while longer. The big change in the outlook is the Federal Reserve, which has to raise rates.
And we're also seeing actually other countries experiencing a raising of rates and interest rates, such as the UK, for instance. So how far off are we from seeing maybe our credit card bills and our mortgage interest rates going up?
I think you're going to see, especially on mortgages, rates going up. Still, though, we have to put this in perspective. If the Fed raises rates, let's say 4 times between today and a year from today, that still means the federal funds rate is about 1%. At 1%, that's not going to destroy the economy.
Mm-hmm. Other things that are affecting the economy, such as what's happening between Russia and Ukraine, China and Taiwan. Now we're adding a couple more things to the pool. Are we going to see the market in flux even more so as we head towards summertime and into the fall?
Well, the stock market has a lot to worry about all of a sudden. Inflation that won't go right away. You've got a geopolitical risk. You've got an issue with the supply lines in ports, the Port of Los Angeles, the Port of Long Beach, California. You're going to see a long time before those ports get unclogged. So there are a lot of things for the markets to worry about. And maybe most importantly, I think the markets overdid it last year. There was too much stimulus from Washington. The markets got ahead of themselves.
So what is it going to take to see America getting back into the workforce and to start moving once again?
Well, we're going to have to get more workers. I think that's a big factor. And I think that means paying workers more, paying them sign-up bonuses. And maybe we have to take another look at immigration. I know it's a controversial issue, but I think that the labor shortage in the U.S. is so acute, we may have to look at immigrants to help bail us out.
And that's across all sectors as well, everything from labor to tech.
Yeah, I'd say so. And then you've got this fire burning. So we throw a little bit of gasoline on the fire, and that is that Washington in the last year spent $6 trillion on stimulus, on COVID relief, on infrastructure. You could argue some of it was necessary, but I think $6 trillion. The analogy I make is that if you've got an ailing patient, you give the patient medicine. But if you give the patient too much medicine, you get side effects. And the side effect here is inflation.
Right. And I know that was very much a bipartisan argument when all that stimulus was being injected into the economy last year. What should we be expecting from our government leaders, for instance? Because you had on both sides of the aisle, there was very little agreement on exactly how we should move forward. So now that we are where we stand today, what should we be expecting from our government leaders, from our lawmakers, in order to see things improve and head in the right direction?
Well, I think, first of all, I'd say we should look at what we shouldn't do. And spending another 2 trillion or so, I think, is just too much. I don't think the economy needs that kind of spending. So I think that's a big, big factor. You know, I, to be realistic, would just say that this is going to take time. A year from today, I think the inflation outlook will look really good. I think the unemployment outlook will look good. The basic economy will look good as well. But it's not going to happen overnight.
Patience, patience, patience.
Right.
Greg, I want to thank you so much for joining us. Greg Valliere, appreciate it.
Thank you.
We're back
Yep.
after this.